It is 5:48 a.m. Tuesday, the day of the book launch, which is very exciting. And I'm not thinking about that at all. I'm gonna go for a run with my friend Casey. So I met Casey 10 years ago in 2014. I just published The Obstacles Away. We were both speaking at a talk that Google was putting on in a castle in England. And so we were the only ones staying in the castle, my wife, him, and a couple other people. And now every time I'm in New York, or when he lived in LA, anytime we're in the same place, when he comes to Texas, we go for a run, and he is very fast.
My friend Ryan is in town this morning from Texas. I'm going to meet him to run. So that was 10.5 miles at a 7:24 pace. Ryan is a fast runner. Morning. Good morning, Ryan Holiday. Let's go.
All right, so 10-year anniversary of Obstacle and knowing Casey, and we did a little more than 10 miles. I will say we have clearly aged and slowed down a little bit since then. Not my fastest time. It was a good way to start the day, and now I'm gonna go do a little writing and not think about the Amazon rank of the book, not think about the reviews, not think about whether the orders are shipping. All that's outside of my control at this point, but I can decide whether I get to work on the next project. What I try to do is I always try to be in the middle of the next book, because there's this big gap. Like Right Thing right now has been done for months, although there've been little things here or there. I don't have anything to do on it now, and I haven't for several months. So I started the next book in the series, the Wisdom book. I want to spend as much time as I can today, when I'm not running around to different press things, working on that project. So I have forward motion. And by the way, that's something that I control. I don't control all the other things, but I do control whether I make a positive contribution to the next book. So I got to do a phone interview with CNN, and I'm walking in the park. I'm going to do it while I'm walking. I like to do most of my phone calls while I'm walking, and New York's such an amazing place to walk, and the weather's awesome, so that's a nice gift. And then I'm having lunch with my sister, who is uptown finishing her cancer treatments, and then I'm doing Chris Cuomo's podcast, and then I've got a couple hours to kill before the book signing tonight at Barnes & Noble in Union Square. 80 times in Meditations, he talks about it more than just about anything. He says, that he actually says the whole purpose of life is good character and acts for the common good. And I think to me, that's a wonderful definition of justice that more people need to understand, because we tend to think of justice as this abstract or this enormous thing that, justice is the civil rights movement. Justice is, criminal justice reform. And it's not these things, but it's also, the standards to which you hold yourself. It's how you treat people. It's how you run your business. It's how you keep your word. And then it's the actions that you can take as the individual to do these things where we have, I think, our greatest obligation. So sometimes you get lucky. I guess this is twice now that I've gotten lucky on this line. the guy that was interviewing me was like a fan. He'd read Stillness is the Key and actually a bunch of the other books, and he really liked the new one. So his questions, like, he actually knew about the books and he wanted people to read them. So again, he was really like doing me a solid. And so as you see like negative reviews, it's easy to be like, negative reviews are people that say no, you can focus on what you're not getting. And what you miss is all the ways that you are getting breaks and hitting green lights. And I do try to focus on that. The Stoics say, you know, everything has two handles. What are you going to look at? Are you going to look at all the breaks you're getting, or are you going to look at the things you're not getting? And you know, if you focus on the breaks you're getting, you're going to be grateful. If you're focused on what you're not getting, you're going to be resentful.
Good evening. So I'm the guy not photographed up here. My name is Will Guidera. I wrote another book called Unreasonable Hospitality, and I'm super excited to spend some time with him talking about this amazing new book, which I've already had a chance to read. I guarantee you, when you read this, it's going to challenge the way you make decisions, because you will be deciding against your own immediate self-interest if you're inspired as much as I was by what it compels you to want to become. I mean that really sincerely. I feel like we have this tendency to always think that the past was better than the present. And when I'm reading this book, and I like, it's kind of fun when you're reading a book and the next week you're having a conversation with the author. But, okay, justice, you define it like a million different ways. Accountability, honesty, responsibility, decency, loyalty. And it feels to me, and I'm not sure whether I'm doing that thing, where the past is better than the present, but that it's incredibly timely. Is it really bad right now, or where?
I mean, I don't know if you could go back historically and find an era where you're like, you know what was wonderful about that time? We treated everyone great. You know, it's never been true. We've always been selfish. We've always discriminated. We've always abused. We've always ignored. But then there's also been people inside those moments that sort of resisted that temptation or that urge. And so when you go back historically, you find wonderful examples, or say counter examples. But I think for the most part, this has been a timeless struggle. It's why the Stoics were laying this out as a virtue worth striving for, 2,000 years ago. But yeah, I do think you could argue some of the trends of the moment accelerate these things. And I would say that our lack of consensus about history, or our inability to pick models and celebrate them and hold them up, makes it hard for us to have sort of a common ideal that we're aspiring towards, right? Like, I would say that one of the big voids in the world today is those stories or exemplars of what we want to be, and then what we want our children to be. We're really good at tearing them down and poking holes in them and pointing out the contradictions in them. But if you don't replace it with anything, you're left with this vacuum. And in that vacuum, people who have no moral compass whatsoever do what they want. And then also, people are uncertain, and they're not called to and inspired to be what they're capable of being, I think.
Ryan Holiday.
Thank you all very much. All right, so today started at 5 something a.m. and it's ending at 10 something p.m. It was awesome, it was good, but I'm like a zombie. I'm fried, my brain is not working. And I gotta find a way to wind down, sleep, and get up and do it again tomorrow because I've got call time at the exact same time. And then I'm gonna see my friend Charlemagne at the Breakfast Club.